Hello, hello. Long time no stream. Have many exciting things today to do. Game development related. We will be pulling up creation from the ashes through fire and fury. So I'm going to open up the Trello, the first step to creation. Animal habitat. Okay, so I have to make a book, a UI. So I'm going to start by looking for another book that has multiple pages. I happen to know of such a book. Let me make sure chat is working here. Sometimes Restream does funny things. Put a message in Twitch. See it. Put a message in YouTube. And looks like the YouTube messages are not showing up. What's new? Oh, there it goes. Just very delayed. All right. We are cooking. So I'm going to go find this book that has multiple pages, and then we're going to copy that, and we'll be off to the races. For some reason, Unity is locked up. Okay, here we go. Wow, it's very laggy. All right, so I'm going to fly over to the place where I know book. Actually, I just remembered the name of the book. Something about folly. There we go. Merman's Folly. No, that's not. It's Essold's Folly. So I don't actually know. This is the name of the artwork it references, but I don't know the name of the book. We'll find it. Bobby in Calabria, hello and welcome. Okay, I think it's maybe this book, Fairy Pages. That's the one. So let me go ahead and open up, well, yeah, first let's open the prefab, make sure it's what we want. What is in here? Into 2D mode, let's go ahead and view our UI. Oh, yeah, 2-page book, perfect. So fairy ring pages, I'll go ahead and copy that book. Yeah, okay, copying the book. And I'm going to rename it to Habitats. Hello, Zens. Welcome, welcome. Okay, yeah, Habitats. I think that's good. And I'm going to go ahead and open that Habitats book. And let's see here. So we already have a UI that sort of has this that we're unfortunately going to need to deprecate. Go ahead and search for habitat. So it's not habitats. Creature maybe? Creature. No, it doesn't look like that. It must be like recipes. Crafting recipes or something. Recipe book. Pet here. Recipe book pets. Okay, so just gonna take a peek at that. Prefab variants to 2D mode. Not sure why we can't see the UI here. That's kind of strange. Oh, because the whole entire thing is inactive. Zons asks, what's your daily routine like when working on the game? Well, usually I look at this Trello, and each member of the team has these lists, and I look at each card and I find one that I can comprehend doing, that I can grab into. and one that is not blocked by any other dependencies. If I am inspired to do one, but it's blocked by other dependencies, then I might have to message someone to become unblocked or make a decision or have a discussion or something. And then once I'm good to go, then I dig in. Here's my greater daily routine. Pretty random. Pretty random. These days I'm waking up real early with my son, who wakes up around 7. And then I hang out with him for a few hours. And then we have a nanny who comes, and then he takes him, and then I usually putz around for like an hour on my computer, and then I get to work. So this is what we want. I was kind of thinking that maybe I could look to this, because it has a lot of stuff that might be good in here. So let's see if we can get this panel. So here's the info panel. Here's info panel 2. I think that's what we want. Let's go ahead and copy that. And I'm going to back up and discard the changes. And Zens asks if I work long hours. I used to work a lot in my 20s. Now I'm 33. And I don't work very like more than normal person, I don't think, anymore. Maybe, 5-6 hours a day, I would say, of work. Sometimes 6 days a week, sometimes 5 days a week. And I always take my day off. It never necessarily falls on a weekend. Sometimes it does. I just kind of take a day whenever I'm doing something. Maybe we're doing something as a family, or I'm otherwise doing something. I really like having that flexibility. I've never liked having the weekend just always on the same days. Sometimes you just want a day off in the middle of the week, and you'd rather do that and then work a day on the weekend. So now we're going to go back to that Habitats book. Habitats, open that. And I'm going to paste that panel in. Here it is. And maybe we can sort of drag this stuff in here. So I want to also see how the pages work. We've got a change page button. Got a body. So I don't actually know how the pages work. I wonder if they just populate some strings here. Check it out. Zens says, I'm feeling so unorganized these days. Helpful to know. Being unorganized makes me unproductive. I feel ya. Yeah, I think that one of the best things you can do is just to make a list of things you need to do. And if you're feeling scatterbrained, then just pick one that is nice and encapsulated, that doesn't have other dependencies, and just put your horse blinders on and forget about everything else and just finish that one thing. And if you can't even comprehend all of the other things you need to do, just take it one thing at a time and ignore everything else and just do the one task, just one task. And then you get the one task done, and then your list is a little shorter, a little shorter, a little shorter. And then eventually your list is short enough to where you can breathe, and it doesn't feel quite so overwhelming. Sometimes the list just keeps getting longer faster than you can make it getting shorter. I don't know. In those situations, if I'm feeling a little overwhelmed, I always just pick one task, and all you can do is just do one task at a time. Still trying to find here's the page number component. I'm just trying to find the mechanism that swaps the pages out, because I don't actually know if the different pages are just text. Okay, so the next button, let's see, destroy on click. So it destroys the whole book. That's interesting. It's really interesting. It destroys the whole book. That is so weird. And okay, it has something called on-click next page. Okay, here we go, multi-page. So there's a component called multi-page. And it looks like We have some images, okay, for just 0 images, which is interesting. Page text ID. So it really does just populate the text. I know we're going to need an image. I wonder how it uses the images. Let's just pop into here and see how it actually uses that image array. Hey, LOXR, welcome, welcome. Amazed with the indie game. Thank you very much for the kind words. I appreciate that. Appreciate that very much. All right, so I'm just going to check out this images array. It seems like we have something called image dot sprite. So let's check out. Image is just an image. An image field. Okay, and we have no image field. So I wonder what that does. Yeah, I think that maybe everything has the same formatting, so we've got a couple different texts here. Let me go into the loc sheet, which is just like every string in the game, and try to find a description for the Briar Fox. Okay, so here we go. Here's the different descriptions. So I imagine for this one, we're going to have probably 4 pages here. Briar Fox habitat, and then dragon habitat. That is the correct one, right? Yeah, temp dragon description. Animus Vox says, 1 task at a time is the only way they can productively work on a project. Otherwise, it's easy to get overwhelmed. That is very true. Very true. Hello, Cyber. All right, so we've got these. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this elements. And, you know, we're just going to have to put the title of the page. Just going to have to format it in. Which is kind of annoying, but hey, it should work. So let's see, what kind of background is this? Nothing we need, it doesn't seem like. We'll go ahead and delete that. And then I'll just go ahead and put all this stuff into, well, you know, maybe we should just put the frame. It looks like it pretty much just has a frame. So I'm just going to put the frame in there and delete that info panel, maybe. Yeah, let's go ahead and delete that info panel. And then let's just see if we can get this frame in there. And I think, yeah, I don't know. I mean, these buttons are on the page. I don't really think we want them on the page. Okay, that's clearly not right. Try something like that. Really? Is it really 212 pixels? 212 pixels? Okay, yeah, wow, it is. This is just all over the place, this little frame. Yeah, I don't know what we're going to do with these buttons because it doesn't seem like they should go there for this particular book. Maybe we can put it like that. Is that weird? Go ahead and save. I want to get rid of that little emblem. And I think that maybe this can actually go inside of the paper background. Cyber asks, how do you like the new demo from Unity? I don't think I've only seen like, I haven't watched it. I've seen like little tiny clips of it. Looks cool. Looks pretty cool. I never really care about these tech demos. All I see is, I see an art team. I don't really see an engine the way that other people do. Zens asks, any reasons why you use Unity over Unreal? I've always liked how Unity's kind of a blank slate. I know Unreal's been changing a lot. I mean, I started using Unity like 10 years ago, so it was very different back then, but Still, I don't like visual scripting. I really, really, really don't like it. And I also don't like the idea of working on your game code like with your engine level code and working in C++ and compiling and all that stuff. So I like the Unity scripting layer. And I like how Unity doesn't really make any assumptions about your game in the way that I feel like Unreal has more of a shooter backbone, which is fine. Of course, you can make any game in it, but I've always just liked the design paradigm of Unity. But we might be trying out Godot after this development cycle. Been starting to get into game dev. Any recommended learning path? Oh man, it changes so much. Like I've been doing this I learned 3D art like 16 years ago now. So everything is completely different. And I learned how to code 10 years ago. And even that, like all the scripting tutorials that I used to learn, they're not even around anymore. I can't even find them. So, yeah, I don't know. I would just try to watch or read, tutorials on the basics of how the scripting works. If you want to be, coding stuff in Unity, and just try to make your own stuff with the tools that you know. Did you take a course or mostly just tinker around? Well, when I initially there's two big learning mountains I climbed. One is 3D art and one is, I guess, programming. And for the 3D art one, well, let me ask which one are you more interested in? I'd like to see how this UI looks. It's not speaking to me at the moment. I just think that if it has a frame like this, it needs to go all the way to the bottom of the page, and we need to do something about these. Yeah, I don't really know what we're going to do about those. Let me maybe look at some I'll look at like a Beastiary page. See if we can find some cool stuff. Just looking for, okay, so we've got some sort of borders here. This one's maybe a little too gothic looking. This one says programming, but I want to do some basic 3D as well. Yeah, for programming, I just watched the Unity Learn, which is a section of the Unity site, had a scripting course. It wasn't a course. It was literally just a bunch of videos, and it went through literally the basics of programming, which is kind of interesting. Like it assumed you knew nothing, and it was in the context of Unity. And I had already done a little bit of programming tinkering prior, and I'd tried to learn Python, and I tried to make a little like choose your own adventure text game. And so I had some basic programming concepts. But for whatever reason, once I watched that, like a 10-hour, like probably 10-part scripting videos, I was just off to the races. I just felt like after I'd watched that, I knew everything I needed to know. I was like, okay, I understand how this works. I knew, how transforms and game objects worked, and how I sort of knew how to link scripts together and the sort of different methods for doing that. I mean, I didn't know everything. I didn't know especially a lot of the C# stuff, like C# specific stuff, like delegates and actions and interfaces and all that kind of stuff. And some of the C# libraries, like the link library has really specific syntax. But other than that C# specific stuff, I felt like I knew everything I needed to know, and I felt like I could make a whole game with this. And I immediately started working on eShade with that. And I just sort of learned as I went. Did you learn a lot with shaders? Not at that time. I have a lot of shader experience because of my background as a 3D artist, especially like with Unreal. I think it's this way now, but Unreal has a sort of visual shader creator that you use on basically all the materials. And that really helped me get up to speed on a lot of the basic things you're doing in a shader. In terms of writing like a vertex fragment shader from scratch, that's not something in my wheelhouse, but Unity calls them surface shaders, which is just sort of the top layer pixel shader. That I know a lot about just from all the stuff I had done with Unreal and just working in video games industry. You know, you kind of learn about different materials and what vertex splatting is and what you know, overlay channel is, second UV channel. We call it at ArenaNet, we called it a mod 2x. Just like a texture that's on a separate UV channel that multiplies over your entire texture. You learn about, like, you know, tiling things at different frequencies. You sort of learn all the parts of making beautiful shaders, and you learn how to use them. And then once you know how to use them and what kind of materials you need, then I find that it was a lot easier to go from there to learning how to make them. And for each shade, I wrote a bunch of shaders. But you probably don't actually need to write lots of shaders, I feel like, depending on what kind of game you're making. Yeah, I think that this is maybe the right call. I'm just trying to figure out how to format this. I think maybe image on top, so frame like this. I don't know what we're gonna do with these buttons. I'm just gonna move them down for now. We're gonna figure out what to do with them later. And here's the body. So I'm gonna take the body. I'm gonna take our loc sheet here, the Briar Fox habitat, and I'm gonna paste it in just so we can get an idea of what we're looking at. And then I'm gonna also paste the text, and we're gonna do some formatting. We can get a good look to this. Oops, I pressed Control B. I don't even know what that does. What does Control B do? It'll completely locked up Unity, whatever it is. Yeah, it just completely froze Unity. Control B. Oh, build, right. Can you not? Cancel. What a weird hotkey for that. I feel like I'm not just like popping off builds all the time. Maybe other people are. Oh man, this is gonna take a while to get out of. That's very annoying. MMORPG. Yeah, I would focus on, depending on where you are, I would focus on the, I think that gameplay development is kind of different from shader stuff. Shader it intersects a lot with art and 3D art. It's very specialized in my opinion. And, you know, it helps to have, like, you mentioned you wanted to learn like basic 3D. I think that would be helpful if you want to learn shaders. I think it's very helpful to know like what a UV channel is and what kinds of things you might find in UV, how UVs are typically laid out for different kinds of things, what kinds of things use tiling versus what kinds of things, you know, have more of a unique unwrap, and how artists like to work, what's common, what kind of materials are common, what a vertex splat shader is, what kinds of things people use vertex color for, that sort of thing. Okay, so I was just trying to paste Briar Fox. That's all I wanted to do. Okay, now I want to use some of the rich text functionality. I know we have some other markup in here. So I'm gonna go look for the word center. Here we go. So there's align center. And then what? BR? That doesn't make sense to me that's what we would. So there's align center. Oh, and then we have to align left. Okay, fair enough. So then we're gonna align left. Very nice. And I assume we're gonna need to put some breaks in here. So I'll just put them in like this. R. Yeah, I think that's good. Zens asks, when is the next devlog? I don't know. I don't have any planned right now. Yeah, I don't know. The devlogs are tough. They're not really getting that many views anymore. They seem to just kind of be tapering off each one. So I don't know if they're worth it, because they really take a lot of work, like 3 whole work days to make. But maybe I'll make another one. Maybe I just haven't quite found the formula of what people want to see. AK Navig 13, thank you very much for the wish list. I really appreciate that. Really appreciate the support. Thank you so much. All right. Wonderful to hear. I know there's another little bit of markup here where we can change the size. So there's size. I know there's one where we can change the percentage. Like maybe something about font. No, nothing about font. Well, maybe we'll just use the size right here. Oh, you can end the align by going with this little bit of markup. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so we don't have to go align left. I think we can just end the alignment. That's cool. Okay. And then we also have another one. We can say size equals, say like what, 32 or something. And then we can probably end it with the same sort of thing. I'm wondering if we can just do like /size or, yeah, that's cool. Sweet. And let's see what kind of font we can get away with. Let's not go with auto size. Let's think 24 is as small as you're supposed to make it. We'll go one bigger. People like big fonts. The UIs look so much better with small fonts, but when you're going multi-platform, the big fonts, it can be very helpful. This is kind of tough. I'm just trying to figure out where we're going to put the image here. I'm glad you're digging the devlog, Zens, and appreciate you watching them. Make them more about the story and design of the game. Yeah, I definitely think that's the ticket. It's hard to find lots of things to talk about with regards to that, but I do think that is the way to go for making them more entertaining for the general audience. Because I don't want to be talking to game developers per se. I don't want to be a game dev guru. And I have at least one video that is on our YouTube channel that is purely game dev guru, and it's just like I just had it inside me. I knew it was the wrong video for the channel, but I just had it inside me. That's the marketing is not the problem video, and I just feel like I had to make that video for some weird reason, and it did really well, but it definitely moved my channel a little bit more into the game dev guru sphere. I don't want to be there. Don't want to be a game dev guru. I don't necessarily want to make content for game devs or indie devs. Zon says, you know what is a nice thing about your game? It's the kind of game my kids can play. Rock on. Around my age, okay. Parents wanting to enjoy games with their kids. Yeah, for sure. I'm glad of that. Glad to be making games that kids can enjoy as well, and parents, both at the same time. Because I find that a lot of times, like games that are for kids, they're kind of trash, if you know what I mean. Like they're just sort of bad products that like parents wouldn't want to play because they're just garbage. And kids are okay with them because kind of kids don't really have good taste yet, and they don't really know what's good and what's not. So it is kind of rare to find something that is definitely, in terms of the quality benchmark, it's aimed for adults, but in terms of the content, it's suitable for children. And kids like anything, you could, especially if you're doing it with them, I find that they're probably gonna be interested in it, and it's a video game. Those are pretty interesting in general. Just moving a character around is pretty fun once kids can actually do it. Wade Lady, no way. All right. Thank you for dropping by the stream. Yeah, development is going well. Wade Lady, if this is the same Wade Lady I am thinking of, I have to imagine it is. She played Eastshade on her stream. You guys can check out her stream. She's got a great, I think it's a variety stream where she plays lots of different games. Everyone just throws the same ideas around, having unique ideas. Well, thank you, Zens. I really appreciate that. Very kind of you. I'm gonna add an image here. Create image, and this is gonna be sort of like thinking like almost like a biology book sort of thing. Jacqueline's gonna draw something, and I'm just gonna have to put a placeholder in for now. I don't know what to put. I don't think we have a fox. There's a fox habitat. Okay, so we have a image for that. That's not the image we're gonna want to put. I think she's gonna want to draw like kind of like maybe a sketchy, almost blueprinty looking image to go in here, but let's see about that. Let's put that in there. And then I think I will take these page controls. No, we don't want this bottom frame to move. That's kind of clever that they're moving together. I don't actually know why they're doing that. Frame. I want to put the frame in the paper background group and then maybe move these buttons. Move the buttons right there. I think that will be good. And then there should be plenty of space for text. And hopefully everything's ship-shape there. Oh, you're too kind, Wade Lady. Really appreciate that. It's always wonderful to hear. It means a lot. Absolute favorite games. Awesome. It's always surreal to hear people say that. I'd really love if this image could be more representative of what we're gonna put in here. Definitely gonna be something more sketchy, like, because if I put the habitat drawing, it definitely is gonna feel like the habitat drawings. Here, I'll put an actual animal in there. I think that will be better. Fish. Okay. And then give that a save. And now let's put in let's hook up that. Oh yeah, what image is that called? Is it called an iron tail? So in the habitats, we're just gonna have 2 pages for now. That's 2 images. And I'm just gonna put the iron tail in both of them. Iron tail. This is just a placeholder image. Jacqueline's gonna draw the real ones and then we can always add more. So there, I think, is the book, and I think that's gonna work. The only thing is we want to take the body that we wrote, and I'm going to put it in the Briar Fox loc sheet. And I should be able to just paste in all that formatting. I got to check this file out. I'm going to head over to Perforce. No, I'm not going to head over to Perforce. I'm going to go into Unity. And I'm going to check out the loc sheet. There we go. And let's go ahead and change that. Hey, Shine111, welcome, welcome. Give a piece of advice about how to learn the artistic component of 3D art. For example, a mindset for making things look visually interesting, building a nice composition, and so on. It's a really great question, because a lot of people don't think about that and they don't worry about that, which is worrying because it's the most important part, right? I mean, 3D art, it's art, right? And the art part is the most important part. And I feel like especially the modern 3D artist, they worry so much about normal maps and shaders and materials and tiling textures and all the kinds of things that go into all the technical things that, you know, of our medium. that they forget about making things look beautiful. I think that the best, like, easy high-level advice I can give, and high-level advice is never that useful, right? So sorry about that. But I think that the most important thing that I think that people don't do is to look at reference. Do good research on what you're trying to make, understand what you're trying to make, and find good reference. And don't just find reference that, fits the bill for what you're trying to make. Find beautiful reference. If you can find a beautiful reference, then a lot of your problems, your artistic problems, an artistic problem is something that doesn't look good and trying to make it look good. That's the problem. If you can find a beautiful reference, all of your artistic problems are solved, or at least many of them are solved, because if it looks good in your reference, then you have the answers in front of you. And of course, you wouldn't want to take someone's concept art and say, well, the problems are solved. Then you're stealing concept art. I'm talking about other things, like you're trying to make a beautiful forest. Well, nobody has a trademark on forests in the world. So you find beautiful photos of beautiful forests at beautiful times of day, and that have beautiful, growth and scattering of vegetation and beautiful variety of vegetation, or just something that looks visually striking. And you just look at it and try to unpack what makes it visually striking. And you just try to put it in, and you try to put it in, to the best of your abilities. And I think that you eventually develop, we call it an eye. You develop an eye for what details are important. But I think that using reference is the most important thing. And it's something that Jacqueline, my wife, and who's the lead artist on this game, Songs of Glimmerwick, we're always reminding each other, like, did you use reference? No, I didn't use reference. Damn it. And then we're just like, duh, why don't we use reference? And like, we never learn, it seems. I mean, most of the time we do use reference, but once in a while we don't, and it always shows. It's always like, why didn't you use reference? It doesn't even matter. Like even this fish right here, is there's no fish in the world that looks like this. It's a very sort of fantastical kind of fish, and it's stylized and all that stuff. I guarantee you she had images of fish up next to her. You can't know everything, right? And so she sort of was able to unpack what makes a fish look like a fish, and what makes a fish look like this particular kind of fish. And even though this fish is completely unique and there's no art in the world that is exactly this fish, she was able to sort of unpack the important parts of what makes a fish look like this, and what are the trademarks of this kind of fish. And anyhow, sorry, I'm rambling. I'm very passionate about this topic. All right, so we've got that. I just want to see if this book works. I'm going to back up, and I'm going to put a interactive. Actually, you know what? I'll go ahead and I'll make a new object. So fairy pages. Device works for audio. Interesting. Yeah, I can see how it would. Okay, I'm gonna duplicate the fairy pages item data, and I'm going to name it habitats. Thank you, Wade Lady. Okay, so I'm going to go to the habitats item data, and I'm going to hook in that prefab we just used, habitats, that prefab we just made. And I'm going to give myself this book called Habitats. So I'm going to pop into game mode now. I'm going to go ahead and do the developer start settings, and let's pop into game mode. Hopefully it'll work. Always takes a while to pop into game mode. It's the first time popped in a while. Okay. Really should have picked a prettier area to test this. There's no reason I have to be an ugly empty farm. All right, so I'm going to give myself give item the habitats item 1. Okay, seemed to work. Habitats, there we go. Okay, so here's the UI. It opened. Great. Perfect. And yeah, everything works. The pages work. The only thing is this little exit button is weird that the fade goes over the page. It should go behind it. But other than that, it seems great. And I think that's all we need to do. All right. Hello, Tardy Gravy. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for the kind words. Love the content. Thank you, thank you. Do you know if the Unity UI combines all textures into an atlas, or is every image a separate asset / draw call? I know that it does some kind of batching. There is definitely some kind of batching that goes on. And I also know that there's like when you have a UI element, let's see. There used to be like a little place that you could add it to an atlas. I don't see that anymore. But I know that there's some kind of draw call consolidation. I also know you don't have to worry about it. Like you don't have to like mess with the atlas in any way. But yeah, unfortunately, yeah, I don't know the specifics of it. You know, we develop for PC and console, so we don't have to worry about draw calls from the UI. They're just kind of insignificant. Let me go to a prettier area to test this. Yeah, go to the ochre forest over here. All right, so the only thing I wanted was to take that book habitats, and I wanted that little exit button to be behind the paper background. Whoa, we can't do that. Well, that's a problem. That little shadow is not just like going over the top of the page, and it doesn't look good. Close background. Here we go. At least I can make it smaller. I can't put it behind. All right, sweet. Sorry, Tardy Gravy, I can't give you more specifics. Okay, so there's the book habitats, and we should be able to, you know, I'll just make a little placeholder. I'll go to the loc sheet, and we'll just copy this format so that we can easily modify it, and I'll just paste it right in here. Okay. I'll just call this dragon name, and we'll say placeholder description of dragon. And then we'll go ahead and save. Okay. I think that that's all she wrote for that particular task. So going back to Sacred Trello board. So this one, we've got a bit of a design doc here. So let's say redesigning animal habitat crafting. Okay. And then we're gonna write some kind of design doc for Jenny. So we'll say players will get a readable from Chicory, which is let's say which has the habitat descriptions. And we'll say no recipes or no item recipe in it. And then players will be able to craft their habitats at their regular crafting table and inspect the ingredients. That's what the word I'm looking for. No ingredients in it. No recipe ingredients in it. No recipe ingredients in it. Players will be able to craft their habitats at the regular crafting table and inspect the ingredients with their crafting book like any other recipe / schematic. Okay. And we'll say Chicory's book should be changed to merely the same readable that the player will get in their inventory. There we go. Okay. Okay, name all the pets in a way so they will be next to each other in the crafting menu. I don't actually know what determines order in the crafting menu. Let's go ahead and save that. What determines the order of the crafting menu? Let's take a look. I'm just going to look at the code. So I'll search for recipe UI, and we'll just look at whatever function populates the list of buttons. So when we open, here we set a bunch of stuff active. We loop through something at some point. We loop through something at some point. We must. Potions buttons. There's got to be a loop. There's a for each in here somewhere. So we're looping through the ingredients. Looping through the ingredients. Okay, so maybe it's just a for. Here we go. Okay, we're looping through the button pool. Latest item datas. We're looping through the button pool. Okay, you get the item, latest item datas of I. What's the latest item datas? Is it just the order you get them? Because that would actually be perfect for us, because you will always get them right next to each other. So who touches this list? Who's adding to it? Latest item data is equals item data. So here we're assigning it. Okay, where we pass in item datas from open. And okay, we pass in shop items. We pass in recipe items. Open recipe book on interact. What are you? Potion practice station, recipe book proxy. All right, fine. So it's a list of recipe items, and we add them in from playerdata.recipes. And playerdata.recipes, this is a goose hunt, is By the way, anyone who doesn't know how to do this, in Visual Studio, if you press Shift F12, it gives you a list of every reference to that particular object in the code base. Very helpful. We touch this array a lot, or this list a lot. Okay, so here we add give recipe. It's literally the order that the player gets them. So we shouldn't have an issue with this. In fact, I'm just going to remove this note. That's it. So then I'm gonna say things to do. Things to do. I'm just gonna break it down. Chicory should give the player the book in class and give them all habitat recipes in the conversation. And I think at the moment it should just be the dragon habitat. Well, okay. And Chicory's book should Chicory's book interact should be changed. Should be changed. Chicory's what is it? It's like Chicory's crafting table should be changed to a Chicory's habitat crafting table should be changed to a simple book book readable. Is that all we need to do? I think that might be all we need to do. Readable, and I'm going to put the name of the readable. Habitats. And then we'll just say the habitat crafting UI will be deprecated. Will effectively be deprecated. But we can just leave it around with no way to access it. We can just leave it around for now. I think that that's good. And then I'm going to give that to Jenny. All right. We did it. We did it. Excellent. This is very good. I'm going to get a quick drink of water. I'm going to BRB. Okay, now I'm gonna check out the Trello list. Let's see, this is, okay, this is regarding a pop-up. Right, this is a design item. I'm gonna put this in the design list. Okay, derelict wagon got walk animation looks weird at 2:33. Let's check out 2:33. This is one of the greatest things we did is we put a timestamp in the top left corner of the game. And so now when we're reporting bugs, when someone does a playthrough, we tend to record the entire playthrough. And then when you see the bug, you just write down the bug and the timestamp, and you can always just go right back to it. So what was it? 2:33? 2:33. 2:33 and 30 seconds, so it's probably going to be in spring here. Okay, there's 120, so it's further than that. 154, further than that. Okay. 2:33 and 30 seconds. I'm just scrubbing until it's right here. It's in the top right. 2:33 and 30 seconds. I did have a nice break. Thank you, Wade Lady. Okay, we got to 2:33, but I didn't see the issue. Maybe I got the timestamp wrong. Sawyer's Coding, welcome, welcome. I've been really enjoying your videos. How often do streams happen? Well, thank you for the kind words about the videos. Streams happen randomly whenever I feel like it. Sometimes 5 days a week, sometimes 1 day every 2 months. So that's the kind of schedule I'm rolling with. Sorry about that, but I'm on a good schedule now for streaming, so hopefully I will be streaming a lot, like 2 or 3 days a week or something. Right, I'm looking for this timestamp very slowly. It's 2:33 and 30 seconds, and it says derelict wagon guy walk animation. 2:33:30. 2:33:30. So there's no derelict wagon guy here. It might be that she hit a progress impeding bug or something. Derelict wagon guy. I don't see him. Okay, she fell through the ground. Hopefully that's fixed by now. I'm sure it is. Let's see. Day 6 until power cuts off. There we go. So she lost power in her house, and I guess she lost some progress. So I'm sure we're going to find it now. 2:33:30. Derelict wagon guy looks weird at 2:33:30. Yeah, that's not gonna work, is it? What's he do? Oh, what kind of walk is that? So he is pumping his legs, like he's pumping his legs, so something is happening, but he has this weird, the top half of his body has some kind of animation. He's also kind of moving his arms. It's very strange. Let me see if I can reproduce that, because that would be lovely. I could just repro it. Sawyer's Cody says, in that case, I will check in randomly. You're too kind. Thank you, Sawyer. I know, it's not very good for growth. I'm going to go to this derelict wagon guy. We've got developer settings. I'm going to check out his schedule first of all and see if I can just take a peekaroo. Wagon guy regular. Let's check that out. Flabbergasted is the name of the destination. He's standing right here. And what kind of animation is he rocking here? Nothing. Just nothing. That's really odd. That is really odd. Okay, well, let's try to repro it. So going to the video, he says, this is perfect. I've been needing a solid wagon. Okay, gotta run. So we just need to get to that point. So I'm gonna look at his conversation and look at that part of the conversation. He says, this is perfect. I've been needing a solid wagon. And I just need a way to quickly get to that. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a branch to the beginning of the conversation, and I'm going to call it Wagon Guy Debug. It's funny, solving bugs is so... I feel like such a huge part of solving bugs is just getting the software into the exact state to create the bug. And sometimes, you know, it's a complicated thing. It can be a very complicated state, and you need to be able to quickly get to that state so you can test the bug. This is something a lot of people who play games don't understand. They're just like, whoa, this bug is old. Why is it still around? Like, well, sometimes knowing about a bug is not all you need, you know? Just knowing of its existence. Fixing a bug is not as easy as knowing about a bug, or fixing a bug is not as easy as having encountered a bug at some point. Reproducing it is really the trick. Oh man. Right now I'm just struggling to get this node. Let me move this node all the way over to the end here and just plug it right in here. Okay. Babbling. Shut up. Enough out of you. And I'll go ahead and save the project. And then I'm going to go into developer start settings. And I'm going to check it out, and we're going to go starting game bools, and I'm going to add one more game bool to the bottom here, and I will paste that in. Okay, so now we should have a way to quickly reproduce that. I'm hoping, if it's 100% repro, if it's not a spooker. Walking with style. Yeah, that is quite a walk. A spooker is a bug that is very difficult to reproduce. That's not an industry term. That's just something that I say. So you should probably not say it because you'll sound dumb like me. Spooky is a term that people use for bugs, though. Definitely not the first person to say that. Okay, I'm talking to him, and he says, this is perfect. And he immediately goes off. And dang it, that stinks. That stinks, because now he's walking. I mean, he's walking terribly, because he doesn't have a front. He just walks, like... He doesn't have a front rig. He only has a 3/4 rig, so this angle looks fine when he's walking, but then when he goes down, he doesn't look good. Like, most people have a front, like this guy right here has a front. Now he's going to go down. But it's really annoying because that's awful. I don't know what we're going to do about that. We might just have to leave it. That is fine, though. But what he did before was heinous and unacceptable. And I don't know how that... I don't know how that happens. He had his hands on his hips and everything. Right? Did he? So here he clearly has his hands on his hips. So let me check if he actually did have his hands on his hips when we started the game. It could be that we're not putting the game into the right state. And if he doesn't have his hands on his hips, well, I'll just shut up and see if he has his hands on his hips. He doesn't. That's the problem. Why doesn't he? When does he put his hands on his hips, and why? So does it happen in this conversation? So here, there it is. Okay, so it is somewhere in the conversation. He talks to him, and then he immediately puts his hands on his hips. All right. We're close. We're close here. I can feel it. She talks to him. I'm gonna guess that it's one of these. Idle, hands on hips. The weird part is these animations don't loop, so idle, hands on hips, and it puts it on a separate track. Really strange. We need to clear that out. Let's check if there's a way to clear out that animation. Okay, so it's really interesting because he does it on track 3, and that's part of the problem. I wonder if there's like a clear animation. There is a clear animation. So all we need is the NPC name, the track index, the mix duration, and the delay. Oops. Okay. I am just going to copy all that. And then I'm going to go into, it really should happen whenever the conversation ends here. I'll do it right here. Clear animation. So the NPC name is, pretty sure it's Wagon Guy, but let me just check to make sure. I do not want to feel like I'm not fixing the bug because I made like a string error. Wagon Guy. Yeah, it's Wagon Guy. Okay, so here we go. Come on now. Wagon Guy. And the track index is 3. The mix duration is, I don't care, but I'm just going to do 0.4. And the delay is 0. And then I'm going to copy that and make sure that he always ends with that. So wherever we end the conversation, he needs to clear out his animation. Here's another way the thing can end. I think that that's it. Okay, but in order to actually check this, we need to give an earlier starting point, something that actually, well, you know, maybe the best way to do it would just be to copy this line, which is definitely the thing that is making him put his hands on his hips. And instead of starting at this node, we're going to start at here. And he'll just say, I put my hands on my hips. And then we're going to paste that little bit of metadata right there. And then I will go in there and go in here. I'm going to do a couple more nodes just to try to simulate. We're just going to say test, test, just to kind of get it a little closer to the way the bug actually happens. And then we'll go save project. Okay. And I hope that this does it. Hello, David Fernandez. Thank you very much for the kind words. I just picked up an interest in doing this. I have a question. How can I start when I have no experience? How can you start what? How can you start making a game? How can you start working in video games? And what discipline? There's 3D art, there's 2D art, there's programming. Is it indie games? Do you want to make indie games? Do you want to work on somebody else's game? Do you want to work in AAA games? Do you want to work as an employee in indie games? tell me a little bit more about your situation, and then I'll give you a terrible, unuseful answer. Okay, I put my hands on my hips. He puts his hands on his hips. I'm gonna wait a little bit because that's what would happen in the game. And then he moves his hands off his hips. Isn't that weird? So clearly there's some kind of bug where he's getting his hands stuck on his hips, and I'm sure that that is what's causing it. But anyhow, I think that that will fix it. It's not a great, I didn't truly reproduce the bug, so, you know, not a great repro, but hopefully it fixed it. Okay, let me catch up with chat. Shadow Gaming. Making a game and whatever is easy for beginners. Well, to make your own game, yeah, I would say, you know, figure out what kind of game you want to make. It's going to probably the general advice is to start by making a very small game, something like tic-tac-toe or something like that. And then, yeah, I would just Google, you know, how to make a game and however way you like to learn. If you like to watch YouTube videos, or if you like to read tutorials, you know, find your preferred method of learning, and just have at it. Maybe a course or something. Yeah, I think that's the way to get started. Let me figure out that follow was. Shansky Bearsky, thank you very much for the follow. I really appreciate that. Gagacha, if you're still around, I missed your follow. I apologize for that. And I guess I got a few follows. I don't really know how I missed them. I think my sound was off. Tardy Gravy, if you're still around, I really appreciate the follow. Thank you very much. Lucas Bird, welcome. Hello, says, game is a very beautiful art style. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. You guys are doing a great job. Can't wait to play it. You're too kind. I can't wait for you to play it. Also, I'm very excited for people to play it. I think people are going to lose their minds. I think it's really going to be, I think it already is a very good game. When we were making Eastshade, I did not think the game was that good. There were moments where I was like, it's kind of cool. I thought it was like, it's okay. But people really liked it. And I think that this game is, this game I actually feel like is good. So I think that people are really going to enjoy it. Lucas Bird, do you have a course on how to set a 3D world with 2D assets? No, and it's kind of a niche thing. Yeah, people aren't really doing it too often. Some people call it a pop-up 3D style or a pop-up 2D style. You might look at like, I don't know if anyone has done like how to make a game like Don't Starve, because Don't Starve is a very popular, you know, top selling game that uses like a pop-up 3D style. But the general idea is that you have a bunch of cards. So here's all of our cards, and you have a bunch of individual illustrations. In this game, which is sort of unique in this way, we do actually create a low poly mesh proxy for a lot of the buildings, and really anything that's really big that needs like shape, we end up projecting it onto this proxy. But other than that, we just have a bunch of cards. And we also use real terrain. So we have like terraces and mountains and rivers cut in and stuff like that. But there's a lot of different ways to do it, and it depends on your game and your art pipeline and how you like to work and stuff. There are so many different ways to do it. Unfortunately, there's no like path. It's like, this is the path sort of thing. It's a zoo. It's a Wild West. All right. Okay, so what have I done? What am I doing? Who am I? Right, I kind of maybe fixed that bug. Terrible. Anyhow, I couldn't reproduce it, but I think it was just a simple matter where the add animation is getting stuck. So I think that that will fix it right there. Save project. And I'm just going to go to Perforce. And hope that that's fixed. So we'll call this. Actually, we'll say maybe added habitat book. And for that, I'm just going to find the habitats asset and prefab. Save. So we'll go ahead and put the loc sheet in that as well. And we'll say bug fixes. Zens asks, do you know when the release is expected? We don't. We have not announced a release date. But it'll be a bit here. It'll be a bit. Long development. David says, leverage ChatGPT. Get a version of Blender and Unity ChatGPT understands. Focus on gameplay, your core loop and core mechanic. Nail a fun core loop first. I'm curious where this advice is coming from to leverage ChatGPT, David, because as far as I know, no serious person in the industry is using ChatGPT for basically anything, except for very weird little niche cases. But as far as I know, 99.9% of games, you know, especially games that anyone would want to play, are not using any sort of generative AI or large language model AI in their development process. Zons asks, couple more years. You know, we don't like to talk about, when we announce release date, then we tend to be a little bit close-lipped about it because it's, you know, it's what everyone wants to know, and I understand that that is a good thing. It means people want to play it, or at least people care about it, because, you know, that's the first part. But yeah, we don't like to give out any dates unless we're giving them out very carefully and quickly. Yeah, because if you say too late and you actually finish early, which almost never happens, it's devastating because what, you just destroyed your hype. And if you say too early, then you have to announce a delay, which is not as bad, but, you know, certain amount of delays, people get upset, and then it's like, well, we don't know exactly when it's going to be done, so we won't say anything until we do, and then we'll give a date, and then we'll do our push. Thank you, Lucas. Okay, so hopefully fix that bug. What was the, oh, here it is, derelict wagon guy, we'll call that verified. I'm just going to put like could not repro, but seems like a bug with add animations on higher tracks not clearing out. Cleared it manually at all of the exit points of the conversation. Or wagon guy. I don't want to make systemic changes because I don't want to add regressions. Actually, you know, it's not completely honest. I simply was not able to repro the initial bug of it not clearing out. So I'm just gonna leave it at that and call it verified. H, welcome to the stream. Hello, hello. What engine is your game made on? We are using Unity. Zon says, how do you stay focused on a project for years at a time? Do you ever feel distracted for any shiny new projects? No, not really. Just because we put too much. We put too much into our projects. So we put all of our life savings and all of our time, and it becomes very do or die. And once you put that much in, you have to finish it. You just have to. It's like, you know, when you put your entire life savings into something, or you put half of your life savings into something and you spend years on it, I don't know, you just kind of commit to it on this cosmic level, and then you just say you're going to finish it or you're going to die trying, and then you finish it. I think it's different for like hobbyists, people who have a job and they just do game development for fun. I think it's easier, you know, to maybe get distracted, because if you're not having fun anymore, well, it's not a very good hobby, is it? And if you want to go mess around with something else, well, then that's going to be maybe more fun for you. So, but for us, you know, since we take it very seriously, well, there's also, you know, if you keep jumping around, you'll never finish anything. And that takes the wind out of my sails. Like knowing that, okay, if I don't finish this and I jump around to something else, well, then that last thing will never get finished. What does that say about the next thing I'm going to jump to? How can I get excited about the next thing if I know it's just going to go to the graveyard like everything else? And that fact takes the wind out of my sails to say, well, I'm not going to jump to the next thing, because the next thing is just a desolate existential shell of nothingness if I don't finish this thing. So, you know, if you want to finish something, then if your dream is not only the idea of dreaming about the game, some people like to dream about dreaming. I dream about making a game. So, you know, the dream is releasing. And then if you never get to it, then you never fulfilled the dream. Zon says, I see the industry things like AI, etc., that I feel like I'm just missing out on. And then it distracts me from. What is industry things like AI? What are you missing out on with AI? Nobody's doing anything with AI. Nobody's making anything good that anybody gives a shit about with AI. What's missing out? H says, I'm learning Unity, only beginner, rock on. Very exciting. Find design hard since I come from programming background, but learning Blender has been great fun. That's very exciting. Very happy for you, H. Okay, so we've got that. Let's go ahead and exit out of that and move on to the next card. The next card. Player doesn't get an umbrella. Let's nip that in the bud right now. Player should get an umbrella. I don't know why they don't already. Someone says, my background is in startups and all the buzz is Gen AI. They raise millions of dollars building some stuff, get users, etc. But I want to focus on games. Games is such a weird industry, man. It's so isolated from the rest of the tech world. Yeah, I know people are throwing around all kinds of money in AI and nobody is making anything with it for anybody. It's so weird. It's like all the the AI, all this AI money is getting thrown around. It's making AI and making products that are sold to other AI junkies, like just the AI for AI for AI, and nobody's actually creating anything with it, really. I mean, there's some things. I know that like some new features of programs. I'm thinking like the generative fill from Photoshop. That's useful. That's very useful. But the promise of AI is absurd, especially with regards to games. And I mean, all I can say is I hope it just kind of fizzles out here. I don't want to get to a point where expression is lost and we're just all little piggies eating up our piggy slop from the AI meat grinder that creates meaningless piggy slop in our piggy trough. As you can see, I have very, very mild opinions about this. I would just want to take one of these umbrellas, magic umbrella, and I want to give it to the player, because all the other NPCs, they have little umbrellas that come over their heads when it starts raining, and the player does not. Tardy Gravy says, feels like Web 3.0, 2.0. Yes, history repeats itself. Green Minstrel, welcome back. Hello, hello. Zon says, can you imagine prompt engineering and just cranking out entire games like a factory? Yeah, it's horrible. But I don't think it's going to happen. I really don't. I really don't think it's going to happen. I don't think that AI makes things that people want. And it seems like it fundamentally is too hard to, it's too hard to control. It just creates what it creates, and there's no authorship behind it. Even with images, which are so good now, it can create beautiful images, but it's so hard to tell it what you want. And it's so hard to iterate on it, and it's so hard to direct it, and it's so hard to make something cohesive. I can't see it working. It's like the hardest part about making video games is connecting everything together. It's wrangling everything together. And that's just, AI is so bad at that. It's not even bad at it. It hasn't even begun to know how to do it. It doesn't even have the entry point for even starting something like that. H says, AI is such a hype train at the moment. It'll crash, but find its place someday. I think that's probably a very measured outlook on it. Yeah, I think it'll be useful in certain contexts, but the AI bro dream of typing up what game you want and it just pooping it out we don't seem to be on that road. My friend runs a $10 million AI video startup, and he thinks it's going to eat everything. Well, your friend, I guarantee you your friend has never made a video game before. At least not one that anyone wants to play. Can't create art, it just combines data it was given. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, what art is has always been such an old debate, but it does seem like expression is an important part of art, and obviously an AI cannot possibly express anything because there's nobody to express it unless we get like some kind of strong AI consciousness that wants to make art. But at the moment, it definitely doesn't have, there's nobody in there to express anything. His startup converts long form. Oh, it's like a video. Okay, it's not video games. Gotcha. Long form videos to AI based short form ones. Okay, so it's kind of like an AI editing thing. It's so crazy. People can, I can't even imagine how you would direct it into making what you want. But I guess he's got all that figured out. Green Minstrel says, personally, I feel like people are detraining their creativity and what they could achieve by giving it all up to a computer, kind of going the easy way instead of learning to walk. Yeah, it's true. It's true. I know, it's scary, and it's bumming me out that, you know, I hear from people who don't want to learn stuff because they are worried that AI will eventually do it, and they're not. It's so sad. It's just so sad. It makes me feel very sad and existential. And it's so different from the people who are on the AI hype train. Like, you can just tell, like, they're opposite species of they're like completely different souls. Like the artist soul versus the AI bro soul is like, they don't have anything in common. Can't even imagine wanting to consume something that is, you know, there's just no guarantee it's taking you anywhere because nobody's trying to tell you anything. So weird. There will be no human programmers in 5 years. That was 2 years ago. And all we have is autopilot to autocomplete. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Tardy Gravy. I know. It's crazy. It really hasn't changed. I mean, the programming jobs have only increased in the last 2 years, and they just keep increasing every year. Mainly a cash grab, replace humans, etc. Yeah. Lots of people only want to make money and pump things out. Very sad, very sad. You guys are making me sad. Just kidding. You guys aren't making me sad. The reality of AI is making me sad. Okay, but we're not. We're creating. Right now, we're creating, and it's magic. I'm putting an umbrella over the player. Here we go. The only thing is we need... It's interesting that we get a different umbrella randomly. So we'll see how that looks. But for now, let's just see how the player looks with an umbrella. So I'll go ahead and save game core, save scene. Valley of the Wind says, you can't automate the love and craft that is eShade Studios. Very kind of you. Hopefully. Hopefully not. Thank you for the hot chocolate, Green Minstrel. King of Mars says, do you have any advice for someone wanting to get into game design? I don't know anything about getting into game design. I honestly don't. I mean, I quit my job in AAA games and started my own studio, essentially just so I could be my own game designer. This grump, okay, this I can see that bug is fixed. Let me see if there's anything about grump. There was a bug in here that I can see is fixed. Grump doesn't have a back. Okay, that should be done now. All right, so now I'm gonna just make it rain. Okay, and now I have an umbrella. So I'm just gonna put the umbrella at a reasonable place because clearly it's way too low. I'm gonna push it up until I can kind of see myself. That seems like a good level, 3.4. And I wanna see, does it give me a different umbrella or does it always give me the same umbrella? Seems like it's always gonna give me the same umbrella. Let me see if I think I have my sound turned off. I might have missed some follows. Missing the follows. No, I'm good. Okay. AI was supposed to stop you from doing the monotonous task, but if it's replacing artists, that's sad. Yeah, definitely. One thing I would love if AI could do, which I'm pretty sure it can't and doesn't, would be an AI email, an email plugin or server mechanism or something that would read all my emails and filter out the spam ones. Cause like spam filtering is so hard and it's like this impossible thing to get right. This should be like 2.45. But every human being, basically any human being, except for like really old people, sometimes they don't have this intuition for whatever reason. Every like internet savvy human being can just look at an email and tell you if it's spam in like one sentence, like nothing, you know, they know exactly. It can be like, hello, sir or madam, that's spam, you know, but they can also tell you if an email's not spam, even though it might start with hello, sir or madam. It might say, hello, sir or madam, I played your game eShade and I really enjoyed it. It's like, okay, that's not spam. And any human can tell that so easily. And AI, with all its magical intelligence, you would think would be able to learn how to, you know, large language model its way to determining whether a particular piece of text is spam or not. And the input data is so easy, right? It's just text. So I would think that'd be a really good use case for it. I would love an AI spam detector. King of Mars asks, did you have any side jobs while you're developing the game? No, I used to work in AAA games and I quit my job to make eShade. And all I did was work on eShade, like 50 hours a week, maybe 60 hours a week for 5 years. Nothing else. and lived off personal savings, which are probably going to be your next question. Can take a lot of money to start a game studio. I'm just going to check the umbrella here. Storm. Why is it so low? I could have sworn I raised it. Did I not? Magic umbrella? Must have been. Yeah, let's go like 3.6 maybe. .6, and then go ahead and save this. So we want to find the umbrella that just looks the best. Some of the umbrellas look better than others, and I just want the best. This one looks really good. I don't think we want a checkered one. We might, I don't know, black. We could do black. Black is pretty unobjectionable. I'm just going to go with black for now. And then maybe we can mess with the player being able to select it. But currently it's just going to be selected for him. Okay, and then we'll give it a save. There's a book called The AI Delusion, and it's so relevant now. One quote that stuck to me was, "The real danger is not that computers are smarter than us, but that we think computers are smarter." Oh, yeah. That we think computers are smarter than us. Yeah. They're certainly not smarter than us right now. I know, I feel like typically people who do programming know how stupid computers are, and people who have never done any programming, they kind of they're amazed by computers, and they think that they know a lot, that they can do a lot of things, that they have all this knowledge. But programmers know they're literally stupider than the stupidest creature on earth, right? Computers have no intelligence that you tell them what to do. Every little thing, if you get one little thing wrong, they bug out. H says, which AAA game are you most impressed with how it's made? Which AAA game am I most impressed with? It's kind of old now. I haven't been playing a lot of AAA games. The most recent game I've been playing, AAA game I've been playing, is Baldur's Gate 3. And sometimes I'm impressed by technology, but I'm typically more impressed by production. And I am very impressed with the way that they were able to create so many branching paths in Baldur's Gate and reconcile them and have them not step on each other's toes, and how you can push forward any of your companion storyline at any time and still manage not to step on each other's toes, but still have all this interaction between the different NPCs. It's not technologically impressive. It's impressive from a design standpoint. It's design-wise very impressive. Like all of the priority stacks and the queues and the sort of a clever arrangement of when these things happen. And it's a marvel of design and a marvel of, I guess, narrative and how to implement narrative in a game. I wouldn't say it's a marvel of narrative design, because when I think of narrative design, I don't really think of those kinds of nuts and bolts. But that's very impressive to me. Don't take a lot of time to play games. Honestly, I don't like gaming as much as creating things and programming. I still love playing games myself. And I always get really inspired by playing games, and sometimes I forget to play games. And certain kinds of games, it's like games with story, games with like RPGs and things like that. Those tend to really inspire me. And sometimes I'm feeling a little bit uninspired and unmotivated, and for some reason I always forget, like, just play a game. So I've actually done that before, where I just felt completely in the dumps, and I just decided, today I'm just gonna play a game because I'm feeling very uninspired, and I think that if I play a game, I'll feel more inspired. And it feels like a long shot, right? Because it feels like just screwing off, but it totally worked. It totally worked, and I think I played for 2 days. I just played like 6 hours a day for 2 days, and I didn't work. And all I wanted to do was work after that. I just wanted to create. It can really work sometimes. It has to be the right kind of game, though. It can't be a game you're addicted to. It can't be like Madden or something, or oh my God, it can't be an online shooter or something. That's not going to inspire you. That's like at least for me, that's a very different mechanism in my brain that when I get like actually kind of addicted to a game, very different than when I'm excited to play a game like I am with an RPG. That's more of a wholesome sort of inspiring thing. I don't know. When you added rain, etc., in a different part of the story, etc., do you use different scenes or the same scene? Zens is asking. The structure of our game is we have the outside world is one giant world, and all the interiors are kind of their own little worlds, but we always have a persistent scene called game core. At least as far as like Unity is concerned, and then we load in individual prefabs for all the interiors. But we always have this we call the exterior world. It's right here, this scene, exterior world. It's our biggest scene. Liz is alive. Hello and welcome. I think that almost everyone's experience with art, finding something to inspire you when you can't find your own motivation. Yeah, for sure. It can be very inspiring. H says, what about FromSoft games? Miyazaki seems create gold every couple years with his Souls-like games. I wonder what's his secret sauce. I think it helps a lot that Miyazaki makes very similar kinds of games every time. I think and that's not a knock at all. I mean, I'm sure, and I don't even necessarily know you never know if it's the lead designer or if it's the composition of the team. Sometimes a team is just very well balanced in terms of like its inner politics and its the minds in that particular studio, and who has power and who has ownership, and the strength of each department and the skills of each department, the personnel of each department. This is all like these are very important things, and I think that sometimes you just have a studio that's just working. It's just firing on all cylinders. So I don't necessarily know if it's Miyazaki. It could be just his leadership and his design chops. But it seems like all of the FromSoft games, they're very, very similar in many, many, many ways, and in many of their design pillars. Yeah, I mean, Elden Ring went open world. I think that was a big change, and they definitely had some design problems to solve there. But I also think that they have enough between each game. It's very helpful. I think if they were starting fresh every time, we wouldn't necessarily see, if they were making more different games, I don't think that they would be such bangers every time. So I definitely think it's a good strategy for a studio to kind of keep to your same wheelhouse as you get better and better at it. Not the strategy we're doing here at Eastshade Studios. We like to go back to the drawing board every time. Very stupid, but what the heart wants, and that's kind of the manifesto of our studio. Zens asks, how do you manage different states in the game, like when the player is in a certain part of the story? It's a complicated question. We don't really have any particular solution other than our quest system is very open. We don't have any templates or anything. And the quests are just when game state needs to change, the callback is made, game state changes, and we just make sure that we don't mess anything up. And we just play test and we make sure that quests aren't messing with the state of other quests. But yeah, there's no like template or big thing that's iterating through like now you're in, you know, stage 5 and the world is in this state. It's just like, nope, this thing happened in a quest. It made this person go here. Now they're there. And you just have to keep the game state in mind and just design things, you know, with keeping everything else in mind at the same time. We do have, each NPC does have something we call a hub, which is like a little bit of conversation where any quest that NPC is involved with, their involvement in the quest will always be accessible through that little piece of conversation. And that piece of conversation is always accessible. So if there's another bit of quest beat that needs to go through, they'll say their piece for that quest beat, and then it'll go back to their hub. And then you'll be able to either pick a topic or you'll have a choice presented that could be involved in another quest, and that helps clean up the design a lot as well. That's actually a very good trick for if you've got NPCs that are involved in multiple quests. I don't know if that's a helpful answer, but it's not. Saravati, hello and welcome back. Good to see you. Okay, so we've got the main player has an umbrella now. Come on now. Player doesn't get an umbrella. Yep, now player has an umbrella. Okay, what is this? The fireplace explosion is the only time you can go in Indy's room. Seems like a shame. Also, the player can choose to not go in, so wouldn't even see it once. That's true. I'm going to put that in design items. The question for Jacqueline. Okay. Make Merylwild's door interactive at night. So this is just give her a lamp of some kind and a late night stub. Okay, let's do that. Let's go give Merrywild a lamp that only shows up at night and a late night stub. So currently Merrywild has a timed activation, which we will be removing. So we'll remove this and I'll go ahead and apply that change. We'll check out the people prefab. This lady's involved in a quest and sometimes she goes to bed at night and players don't know how to access her. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move our player over to her so we can see her. And we'll change the developer start settings just to start at night. I'll do like 8.5. And what does she say? Does she even need a late night? Like, what could she say? So let's go to her conversation. Merrywild. This is probably her sort of stub right here. Yeah, this is her stub. Okay, so we've got is raining. Let's do maybe another check for what time it is. So I'm going to check for go into the metadata processor. And I'm going to check if it's past a certain time. I don't actually think we have a callback for that. So I'm probably going to need to give one. Check time or something? No. H says Bethesda really screwed themselves when they changed genres from sci-fi to the Fallout. From the Fallout series. Yeah, with what is the name of that massive game? What is the name of the giant game? Oh my god, I'm gonna die. Oh, my brain is so old. Please don't let this happen to me. What is it? What is the big game? Starfield. Oh my god. Are you talking about Starfield? I can't believe I forgot the name of that game. Oh my god. I played it for a few hours and I felt nothing. I felt absolutely nothing. I can't even believe it. It's really even hard to diagnose like why it's such a dud. I mean, there are definitely individual aspects. I watched a few videos of people like reviewing that game, and people have particular nitpicks. You know, they're like, "Oh, I hate how X or Y," but that really doesn't do it for me. It's something. It's like every single decision permeating through the entire product is just flat somehow. Like the pacing, the narrative prescription for why you're just getting a ship, the sense of place. There is no sense of place. It's so weird. How do you even end up with no sense of place when you have that much art muscle? It's so crazy, and that much money and stuff, and that kind of game. Like, yeah, just every single thing. It's I don't even understand it. Right, I'm writing a new callback to check if it's past a certain time. So I guess we can do like time between maybe. Let's go is raining. We'll say like, oops, we need to check this out. Oh, okay. Conversation metadata processor. But I think that Starfield, people like it, right? Isn't it well reviewed? Doesn't it have like a good score? Let's see. Oh, no, it doesn't. Oh, people hate it. Wow, 60%. That is really bad. 60% on Steam is so bad. That's crazy. Huh. Wow. Okay. Anyhow, moving on. What I want is 2 arguments. Time cycler dot. I don't think we have a between. No. Time. So I think we have like a math fx dot between or something. No, it's not. It might be math DW. I think I have my own little math class or something. Do I not? Generic data DW? Huh. I guess I don't have a between. Okay, well, we're just going to do if the the time of day, we'll just cache it real quick. Float t equals time of day. If t is bigger than args 0, do we have a 2 floats? No, we don't. Huh. How do you turn a string into a float? Like that? Okay, well, we'll look it up. C# string to float. Convert, I'll do float.parse. That sounds good. Okay. Float.parse. Okay, so the time has to be greater than the first one and less than the second one. That's args 1 to float.parse. Okay. And we'll call this is time between. I think that's good. Exposure is absolutely insane. Yeah, that should be a little better. I can see a lot better too. That's nice. All right, so Mary Wild, I think she should first check if it's raining and then check. I think it being raining is a more significant, noticeable thing. And then we'll do is time between. And if the time is between, then she'll say, I don't know. Oh goodness, look at the time. Something like that. H says you really call a variable t. What's wrong with that? Local. It's local. It's time. T is always time. I think maybe she should say, maybe she could cycle. What, does she have a cycler anywhere else? We'll just go with that. Okay, let's go save project. And now we just want to give Mariwild a little lamp that turns on. You know what I really could have done if I was clever? Could have kept around that time cycle component. It's okay. It's all right. Let's add a little lamp. What do we got here? Nothing. Is this the one the player's holding? We might just want the one the player's holding. That might work. Oh, actually, I don't think the player writes. I think it's part of their spine rig, that little lamp. So yeah, we don't need that. So let's just go ahead and put a lamp, maybe, gotta find parent here, lamp like this. Okay, we'll turn it on. Follow bone. Yeah, we don't need that. I'll go ahead and unpack this actually. I think this is like the only place in the game that we're going to have a situation like this. So let me go ahead and unpack the prefab. Audio source. Yeah, we don't need a squeaky sound either. So remove this component. Remove this component. We don't need any sound. Fade light intensity on enable. That sounds good. I think that's reasonable. And we have our little glow. H says, most software companies I've worked with that naming, I guess if you own the company, you make the rules. Oh, hate that naming. No, that's really silly then. There's absolutely nothing wrong with using T as a local variable to represent time. There's no way. I promise you, there is no way. I think that someone makes like a company-wide rule. You can't name local variables that you're only going to use in 2 lines in local scope. That's crazy. Yeah, if it's like a property on a class, then T is kind of a ridiculous name. But if it's just you're doing math, there's nothing wrong with that. Like shader code, if you ever look at shader code, man, there's like, everyone always is putting 1 letter as variables. It's easier a lot of the time. Or like even the language of math, right? Everything's 1 letter. I'll die on this hill. I will. Okay, I'm gonna do a quad and remove the mesh collider. And let's go lantern. Wow, there's so many different lanterns. We just want the one the player holds, which I actually don't even think is... probably not even a thing in the game. I'm gonna have to go get it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go get it because yeah, I don't think there's any reason why we'd have it in the game. It's only in the spine rig. So let's go into the spine rig. Let's go to spine. And spine projects. And then probably no, anim sprites. Player. How is this not a thing? Player in here? Player, no. Okay. And then find shared probably. And we should have it in here. There it is. Now that's not really what we want, is it? Huh. I wonder if there's some other lantern that we can... We just want like a handheld lantern that sits on the ground. Something very similar to this. Yeah, we might be able to use that. Okay, so I need a new material. That one's very magical. Gosh, so many cool lanterns. Maybe we could use this one. Try that. I'm gonna make this like Merry Wild's lantern. Merry Wild's lantern. Okay, 30. Thank you so much for dropping by, Green Minstrel, and I hope you sleep very well. Always great to see you. Okay, so I'm just going to put this lantern on the ground, and maybe we'll put like a little drop shadow as well. Shadow radial dark. Maybe radial light would be enough. And we'll just go like, I don't know, 90 degrees. And I'll go ahead and put the glow. Yeah, the lamp should go. I guess it doesn't quite matter where we put this thing, other than it should be kind of in front of Mirror Wild. The glow could maybe go a little bit up, and this shadow, I can't even see the shadow. There we go. Gear C, hello and welcome. Really like the art in this game. Thank you very much for the kind words. Everything blends together so perfectly. Can I ask about the characters? Are they top-down characters or side-scroller ones? The game is top-down, right? Yeah, the game is like 30 degrees looking down. And the characters are all directions. So we've got a bunch of directions. I can show you. I can run around in the game. First, let me move this lamp somewhere reasonable, like here. Whoa, why is it so weird? Okay, yeah, we need that lamp over here. Maybe? I don't know. Let's give it a save. Let's see what we're working with here. Apply all. Okay, yeah, we have some really strange stuff going on with that glow. I think it needs to be a higher order, because clearly the shadow behind it is drawing in front of it. Oh, actually, it does look pretty good though, overall. It's a little bit low res, unfortunately. I need a sharper. Wait, is it low res? Nope, it's not low res. We were just zoomed in like crazy people. Yeah, here's the characters. So they can move in all directions. Back and front and right and left. That looks pretty good though, that little lamp by her. I think that's quite nice. The only thing is that shadow is kind of strange. Oh, she didn't say the line she was supposed to say. I have a feeling that's because we didn't compile. I'm surprised, actually. I would think the lantern glow really would need to be in a higher priority. I don't know why we chose 3150. Let's go 3250. That's not high enough. 3450. I can't think of any reason why anything would need to render on top of it. But here we are at 3850. That's pretty damn high. Let's go 3750. Okay, and then, yeah, I think that's pretty good. Lantern glow. Yeah, that seems pretty good. The only thing is this lantern, of course, doesn't actually have any glow to it, so that's silly. It definitely shouldn't be wizard cutout. It should be glow. Night, something about night. Additive night? No. Day. What are we using? Lamp, maybe? No, none of that. Okay, I don't know what shader we're using for this sort of thing. It might just be that I know these ones work, so let's see. Actually, I have a lot of work to fix all these. Lantern is using just a normal cutout, and I think we're just literally cutting a hole. Yeah, we are. So that's unfortunate, but glowing lantern glass is the name of the material. I think I do want to copy that. Copy that quad. Copy. And then run over to that other lantern near Marrowild. And I'm gonna just paste it right in there, paste. And then zero out the transforms. Here we've got our glowing lantern glass. Oh man, it's gonna be tough to obscure it properly because we have a very particular shape that we need. Yeah. Huh. I don't think we're gonna be able to do this very easily. Probably gonna need a custom mesh, unfortunately. Crazy. The only thing we might be able to do is just make two of them. That's probably gonna work. Just add a little glow to it. So I'll go move on the local and I'll just rotate this way and just try to get it in there. And this is gonna render behind this cutout shader. Something like that. And then we're just gonna want one on the other side. And then we're probably gonna need one that goes right in the middle here. Okay. And we're gonna need this texture. And I'm gonna check it out. And we're gonna remove that glass. Don't need that glass there. We also have some Z fighting, so probably gonna want at least this one to go back a little. That looks really strange. Maybe we just want these two ones on the side to go back a little bit, and then this other one to go back a little just to stop the Z fighting. Okay, and now we should have this glowing. The only other thing is we need to put a, first of all, yeah, is time between. That's there, and then I'm gonna add a lamp fade intensity on enable, and I'll add a timed activation. And the object we want to activate is the lamp, and we're going to activate it between 0.78. No, let's just go 0.75 or maybe 0.76 and go off at 1. Or even like 0.99, because the players can't be out here in the morning anyway, so it's going to be fine. Okay, so now when I go into play mode, the lamp should be on. We should be able to see it. Cool. Looks great. Little lamp. Now does she say her line? Hi dear, hope you're enjoying the day. That is not what you're supposed to say, lady. Maybe I will, first of all, I think that glow could move forward because it's not quite on the lamp. Or at least be like a lighter glow. Pretty intense. Glow white. No, we don't want it to glow white. Really not very many glows. Glowing lantern glass? No, that's not the one we want. Here, I think that that's what we want. I think it'll show up at night. What else was I doing? All right, I just need a compile. So let's just go game manager. Actually, we have some code checked out. Let's make a change here. Save that. Yeah. Okay, cool. Lantern's looking good. Ah, man. What time is it anyway? Is it not late enough or something? Ah, it's frustrating. Maybe I got the math wrong. Okay, here we are in the morning. Nothing's working. I mean, that lantern is supposed to be off, and it's not. Okay, so she's saying something different now. So here we have the timed activation, activating the lamp, on at 0.75, on at 0.99. I don't know, does it have to be like deactivated by default? I don't know why it would. Basically, nothing is working. And then going to Marrowild's conversation. I don't know what conversation we were getting here. It wasn't about the moonstone. It wasn't about any of this stuff. So is there other Marrowild conversations? Oh, Marrowild stub. There we go. So I don't know what this conversation is, but I don't even know if we're using it. But here's our first problem. No, look, it does go to Marrowild, but then it goes to cycle response. So it says, first it asks for Marrowild quest convo. So that's not really what we want. I don't know what flags quest convo to true, but we definitely need some kind of is raining. Let's take this whole, make a branch here. Branch. You definitely should acknowledge if it's raining or not. It's just weird if she doesn't. Is raining. And then time between. Okay, and if it's not those things, you go into your cycle response. But if it is raining, then she says a bit rainy today. Probably could use some work, that line. And then you go into pick topic. And then, goodness, look at the time. Again, line could use some work. And instead of going directly into the cycle response, first you go into here. And let's save the project. Okay. And now we should see it. So, and we might have to compile. I don't think we do, but I just will, just to make sure. So first, lamp is shining. Good. What does she say? Goodness, look at the time. Perfect. Next day. I don't understand why the timed activation is doing this to us. Does that have something to do with being in view? Oh yeah. Wow. I didn't know about that feature. So I guess it waits till it's outside of view. And then she says, hope you're enjoying the day. Now everything works as it should. And that's it. That's a wrap. So let's look at Perforce. Added habitat book, bug fixes, and we'll just call this Wild. Added lamp and convo for Wild at night. Okay, cool. So just make sure to, I'm gonna make sure to save the project. And I'm gonna save definitely save people. And I'll go ahead and save, you know what? I'm gonna just press Control S and it's gonna save everything. Normally I don't do that because we wanna be very specific about what files we're modifying, and Control S modifies all the open scenes and saves the project. But in this case, I think that's what we want. Here we go. Let's refresh it. See, we've got main. I'm going to actually put this in, let's just put it in bug fixes. Hey, Cat Pie Yum, welcome. It's going very well. Let me check for follows. Okay. All right, and we're good. And you know, I'm going to check these in. Actually, first I will rub them off. So Wild's door interactive. At night, I'm going to call this verified. Say I've added a lamp and a convo branch for nighttime and kept her out all night. Liz asks, not sure if you talked about this before, but along with yourself, are you collaborating with Phoenix Glendinning on the music of this game? Yes, yes, we are. Phoenix is a lifelong friend of mine. And very likely our composer for life. So probably be our composer for every game. Phoenix Glendinning, for folks who don't know, is the composer of Eastshade. Progress is really great. You know, I think that all the systems are done of the game, and we're just jamming on content. And I think we've got over half of the content done, and it's good. It's a banger. It's going to be a banger. God, oh man, 15 hours of gameplay at this point. Yeah. Rock on. Well, thank you for the kind words, Liz. I'm really glad you enjoyed those. Yeah, for sure. You did a heck of a job. Very special composer for sure. All right, I'm going to exit out of that. And yeah, there we go. We've got Wild's door done. Great. Very happy with that. I'm going to go ahead and submit, and I'm going to call it a stream. I'm going to call it a stream. I'm going to wait for these things to go in. Yeah, we'll probably have a closed beta at some point. But we're not quite there yet. Just internal testing for now. Okay, folks, I'm going to call it a stream. I want to thank everyone for dropping by and hanging out. And if you followed, I really appreciate the follow. And of course, if you're new to the stream and you just learned about us, please don't hesitate to pop over to our Steam page for Songs of Glimmerwick and see if it's your cup of tea. You could also check out our previous game, Eastshade, which apparently doesn't have a Moobot link, which I cannot believe. But I'm sure you could find it by Googling it. And see if that's your cup of tea. See if it's something you'd like to play. And in the case of Eastshade, of course, maybe give it a wish list if you're not ready to buy it, and then you'll get a notification when it goes on sale. And Songs of Glimmerwick is not out yet, but if you want to be notified when it does come out, then give that a wish list as well, and you will not miss it when it comes out. So thanks everyone for hanging out, and hopefully I'll catch some of y'all next time. See you.